this is your garment. You need this cleansed. You need this stripped. You need this changed. Right? And so I tell people all the time, you want to know how I got where I'm at? I had to. Look at me. Not nobody else. Look at me. Confess your mess. Confess your mess. Because one of the things is, if you're not real and honest, God already knows the truth. But the enemy uses what we want to hide or keep secret against us. The moment you open up and confess your mess, he could try to use it against you. But you'd be surprised how many people out there really needed to know they weren't alone in that. Oh, you're not the only one that had issues with sex. Check this out. I was the church girl growing up. That had issues with sex. I was the church girl who watched pornography. I was the church girl who smoked weed. I was the church girl who got high and watched pornography and had sex and did all that stuff. I was the church girl who loved to drink. Yeah, I was that girl. And so many people were like, what? They look at me like, what? You did all of that? I'm like, yeah, but I did. Because the reality of it is, I had an addiction. And see, people won't call it an addiction.
I was just going to say that. Like, they only call drugs an addiction, alcohol addiction.
Sex is an addiction.
That's an addiction too, yeah.
You just have ways of doing it without it making it seem like you're a hoe.
Right.
Or a prostitute, or you know what I mean, or pimping, or whatever.
It's like a drunk that can go to work and
functional,
still function.
And still function. They function. Well, what I did was I just kept relationships. Then when I tried to live a godly life, I just got married.
Man.
Because I used to fear that I would be in the middle of having sex and die.
Wow.
That's how scared I was of it. But that's also how much I knew my walk with God was important. But at the time, I liked my sex. So, how can you do that without feeling guilty? Get married. Get married.
What does the scripture that say? It's better to marry than to burn?
Yeah, I'm so sick of that scripture. Because unfortunately,
people don't understand that.
If you get married because you don't want to burn, you still end up cheating. You still end up divorcing. You still end up doing dumb stuff. So it's like, wait, might as well.
Not to cut you off, the burn don't even mean hell. It just means like burn with lust.
Yeah.
You know.
You gonna get burned, all right. It just might not be the burning you thinking, but you're gonna get burned, you know. But no, seriously, back to the reality of it is, I asked God to strip my garments, and it was the most painful. You would think, literally, and I remember describing it to a woman who asked me. I said to her, and I'm explaining it to you this way. Each of us is going to go through a different stripping. Because each of us went through something different. I'm not you and you're not me. So my strip may be worse than your stripping, but it's still a painful stripping because it's things within you that God is literally pulling up out of you. And it's painful. I said there was nights I cried and had to call my sister friend to pray for me. To pray for me. That's how painful it was. That's how painful it was. So I didn't want to make anybody think this was an easy process. I tell anybody, if you really want to know what I did, it's not easy, and you gotta be able to handle it. Because there's gonna be times you're gonna want to give up. There's gonna be times that you don't want to face it. But it freed me. It was painful, but it freed me. I don't even, as much as I love sex, I don't even desire it like I used to. I can be around a good-looking man and not even want him. I've had guys try to talk to me, and they talk to me for maybe a few weeks, and they realize, oh, she's serious. Oh, yes, I am.
But can I ask you a question? So when you see that,
yeah,
what did that do for you to know that? Because I think about things like this. It's like, it's certain things that happen in our life that show us our growth. You know what I mean? So like, say for instance, like you struggle with that, but you may have failed so many times, but when God did all that stripping and you did all your confessing and your crying and all that stuff like that, now it's like, even though you know that if you weren't practicing all the things that you're practicing, like your devotion and all those stuff like that, that thing would just fling right back out. You know what I mean? But I was thinking that, you know, God would do things in your life to show you how far you've come.
Mm-hmm. But God also gives you a way of escape. I think we forget that part. But you have to set boundaries even in that.
Right.
For me, like I
coping strategies.
Correct. Yeah. Coping strategies. I know not to have a man in my home.
Right. Oh, we talked about that.
Yeah. And I won't go to his home.
Even when we was talking about doing this interview, you said, "No, we got, if we're gonna do that at church, we still gotta have somebody there. I don't be alone with no man and all that."
Especially a married man,
right? Because
I've been accused of things I never did with a married man, and I just knowing I didn't do something and be accused of something that stuck with me. Right. I didn't even mess with the woman's husband, but I was accused of it. Right. And this is church people. Yeah. Well, and that hurt me. Yeah. But so my thing is, anytime it's a married man, especially a married man, I don't want to be alone with you. Right. There gotta be a witness. Right. I'm sorry, but there's just some boundaries we have to set as people, whether we're women or men of God or none of that. Right. There's still boundaries that we have to set.
And I like that because, and this is for, you know, people out there that's probably still developing in this area. You know what I mean? Because I don't want you to lose heart or discourage, because you're seeing progression. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
And that's what I think that some people. And another reason why I believe God gave me this ministry is because there's a lot of saved people who have committed suicide because they failed and constantly failed, and then you had, you know, I'm not even gonna call them church people, because to me it's like God's church is different from church people. You
Correct.
Know what I mean? And so there's people who are in a church, they have no love or compassion. Understand that people are still growing. And so you got to have patience with people. And so you got people out there who need to see testimonies like yours of how God took someone who struggled even in the church.
Yep.
And it's not that you didn't love God. It's just that you had that inner struggle. Like Scripture says, the flesh lusteth against the spirit and the spirit against the flesh. And these two are contrary to one another.
Always.
To keep you from doing what you ought to do.
Always.
But so this is why it's so important that one thing I noticed what you said was, when we was talking about the grandbaby, you said a sister of yours who counsels, I guess she's like...
she's my spiritual mentor.
She's your spiritual mentor. And I love what you said when you said that, because people don't understand how important it is to have a spiritual mentor.
Correct.
From the time I got saved in prison, and even up to now, God has always kept in my life a spiritual mentor, because I know that without that mentor, I would have probably been and went crazy by now.
Yeah.
Saved and all, you know what I'm saying? Because you got a man of wisdom or somebody with wisdom over you to help you. You know what I'm saying?
But you want someone who's going to be honest.
Yeah, straight up with you, 100.
Straight up with you.
Yes.
I'm mentoring a woman right now. She's older than me. God is so, God is funny. Yeah. She's a Caucasian. Right. That's even more funny. And she's older. And she asked me to be her mentor. And I was a little leery because of this last person I mentored, the way things happened. I was like, no. Right. But I said to the person, I got to be honest with you, though. I'm going to keep it 100 with you. I'm not going to sugarcoat nothing. And if you can't handle that, then I'm not the one for you to mentor you, because my mentor was tough on me. She kept it real with me. Till this day, she's the same way. I don't always agree with what she says. Right. But she still keeps it 100, and she doesn't sugarcoat nothing. Right. And she gives me very good wisdom, and she gives me things from experience, And I'm like, this is what I'm saying. I take things now and I listen for real, and I'm like, wow. And I was like, and that stays in the back of my head. That's not your child. That's your grandchild. Be careful even how you word things. Don't say my baby, because that's not your baby.
Right.
That's your grandbaby.
Right.
So I'll go my G baby. My G baby. That's my G. That's how's G's baby. How's G's baby.
Right.
I don't say my baby, but how's G's baby.
Yeah.
So that my daughter don't have to say, Mom, that's not your baby. That's my baby.
That's her baby. Yeah.
Mom, I'm gonna do okay. You're right. Cause at first I tried to give advice, and then she reminded me. I was like, you know what? I'm not. You're the mom. I'm just a grandma.
So I'm going to. So I am. That's why I said you blow my mind, because when I say blow my mind,
I know. I got what you're saying.
Because I met you at a time I was growing. Like, to me, you like, one of my, it's like in 2010 is where I started meeting everybody that's been like my friends, like Christian friends and stuff like that. And you were like one of the top tier, because you came in my life. Then when Eric came in my life, and me and Eric been down.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Since
I remember.
Since
Yeah,
the dirt.
Eric. Yeah.
But to see the fire that's in you now,